I'm afraid we're going to have to go back to this hospital situation again because it was in the news in the Dáil, and it was also in the news from the INMO, the situation in South Tipperary General Hospital. Figures were bandied about yesterday, but we have the official Trolley Watch figure from the INMO here in front of me. South Tipperary General Hospital, 29 people on trolleys. 29 people on trolleys in a small acute hospital. It is absolutely, utterly disgraceful and unacceptable. Right. Let's say that. Now, that's one thing. Now, the other thing about the announcement of beds reopening in Our Ladies in Cashel. Well, you can hold your breath on that one because we've got a statement from the HSE on that. Big, long statement with the usual guff in it about the emergency department is busy on a continuous basis. All of that stuff we know. Discussions, and here's the crunch part. That little 2 lines at the end of the statement. Discussions are underway around the opening of additional beds in Cashel and funding has been sought for same. However, no decision has yet been finalised in this regard. So it seems to me anyway that the HSE is completely unable to respond to an emergency situation in a hospital. It just can't do it. It hasn't the capability of doing it. Now, this was brought up in the Dáil yesterday by independent TD Seamus Healy. He asked the Taoiseach to intervene and do something. And here's an edited response of what the Taoiseach replied.
Well, Deputy Healy did raise this a number of weeks ago, Concorla, and I have to say that I no more than anybody else, I feel for patients, first of all, who have to be in hospital, but secondly, who find themselves in situations that are not at premium level or not the best. Not the best facilities. Now, I don't have the details that Deputy Healy's read out here, though you did raise this 3 weeks ago. So what I will undertake for you, Deputy, is to ask for a report on the facts that you've mentioned here from the Minister for Health in respect of South Tipperary General Hospital, and advise you as to what the official response is. Deputy Healy is well aware of the action taken by the Minister at national level in respect of reducing trolley numbers over the last number of years, and that's been quite successful. Obviously, there seems to be a situation applicable in a local hospital, which, as you point out, is not conducive to the best level of care. I will undertake to seek a report, Deputy, from the Minister through the HSE on the facts that you outlined here in your question today. Well, Deputy Healy is well aware that when we were spending 16 billion on the health system, that the numbers on trolleys and the situation insofar as hospital wards throughout the country was in very poor shape. Money is not the answer here, Deputy Healy. There's been an agreement set out under Haddington Road for rostering and for changes and all of these things. Now, I haven't had a report from the hospital manager in South Tipperary General Hospital, but there has to be a reason here for the excess numbers, as you point out, who are on trolleys. There has to be a reason for this. Management of the beds in every hospital is a matter for the hospital chief executive and the hospital manager. I haven't a report from them in respect of what you raised here. I've undertaken for you to find out from the Minister for Health through the HSE what the exact situation is, and I'll advise Deputy Healy of that. Thank you.
Okay, so now Seamus Healy is on line 3. Seamus Healy, good morning.
Good morning, Seamus.
Now, so the Taoiseach is going to get a report. Is that response adequate?
Not good enough, Seamus. Absolutely not good enough. This is not something that's gone on just for the last 3 weeks. This has gone on for months on end. In fact, it's going on since this government came into power. In the year 2011, there were 750 patients on trolleys at South Tip General. In 2013, there was 3,100 patients on trolleys. More than four times the number in 2011.
Yeah.
The Taoiseach's response is simply not good enough, and the Minister, the Department of Health, the HSE and the Taoiseach have had more than adequate time to deal with this. It's gone on for, as I say, for years, but particularly over the last 6 months. And
it's going on really, a big contributory factor is that a lot of people from Mid and North Tipperary are going to Clonmel trying to seek treatment.
Absolutely. There's no doubt that the closure of the hospital in Nina for acute cases certainly is a contributory factor, and the fact that the situation at the regional hospital in Limerick is also a crisis situation on a daily basis is a further factor that's complicated.
No, the Taoiseach says throwing money at it isn't going to solve it.
Well, no one is asking him to throw money at it, Seamus. There's, and as I told him yesterday, and as I told him 3 weeks ago, there's provision in the National Service Plan for 2014 for situations like this, and it's under the heading of critical service priorities, and it sets aside 30 million euros for dealing with precisely these situations. And maybe if I just read the sentence, a single sentence, it says this money is for targeted additional capacity and capability in areas within acute services which continue to experience increased service demand, particularly in areas of access across emergency departments. So specifically for this purpose, there is money provided in the National Service Plan.
Okay,
it's quite clear, Seamus. I just want to say this. The hospital staff have indicated the problems that are there. The hospital management, in fairness to them, have made requests for support. In fairness even to the HSE management of the South East, they have requested support, and nothing has been done. And it is simply and absolutely unacceptable to have 29 patients on trolleys and chairs in the emergency department, in the corridors of the emergency department, in the corridors of the hospital, and in the atrium, in the public thoroughfare of the hospital.
And we know all that, and that has been well rehearsed, and it is disgraceful. You're right. But look, you were manager in that hospital for years. So yes. You're uniquely placed to say what can be done about it. I mean, is it the local hospital management? Is it the HSE South East, or who is it? I mean, how are they going to solve this backlog?
There's three elements necessary to solve this and to solve it properly. The first is additional staff in the emergency department, medical, nursing and support staff. You cannot run a modern hospital on the basis of reducing its budget by 11 million euros over the last number of years.
Well, I understand, but if you have more in the emergency department, surely you'll just transfer them onto the wards then, and if the wards aren't open.
I've said there's three elements, Seamus. The first one is additional staff in the emergency department itself. The second one is that there is a need for additional beds within the hospital. And thirdly, there's a need for additional step-down beds, whether they're within the hospital or in the community or indeed at Our Lady's Hospital in Cashel. So there's three elements that need to be put together to solve this problem. The money is available and it should be used to sort out the problem at the hospital. It is simply and absolutely unacceptable. I mean, we're talking about effectively third world conditions.
Yeah, I'm going back to the statement by the HSE. Discussions are underway around the discussions, mind you, are underway around the opening of additional beds in Cashel, and funding has been sought for same. However, no decision has yet been finalised in this regard. I mean, what will it take for them to decide on that?
It will take political pressure. And that's what I was trying to do yesterday, Seamus. I was trying to ask the Taoiseach to personally intervene, because the patients at South Tipperary General Hospital and the public of South Tipperary have been failed by the HSE, they've been failed by the Department of Health, and they've been failed by the Minister for Health. And we need the Taoiseach now to get involved in solving this problem. After all, the current Taoiseach, in the 2011 general election, and his Tánaiste Eamon Gilmore went around South Tipperary saying that they were supporting South Tipperary General Hospital. We want that support now, and we need the funding and the beds to ensure that there's a reasonable and a good quality of services for patients across South Tipperary.
Yes, and it's no harm to put a bit of context on it, because I have these figures in front of me, the INMO Trolley and Ward Watch, and look at other hospitals that might be of similar size, maybe slightly bigger. St Luke's Hospital in Kilkenny, 5 people on trolleys. Wexford General Hospital, 0 people on trolleys. Wexford, which would be comparable to South Tipperary, 0. We are in the same position as all the regional hospitals, like Beaumont Hospital, huge hospital, 30 people on trolleys. The regional in Limerick University Hospital, 30, one more than a smaller acute hospital for the county. So we are in the same Cork University Hospital, 31. So we are in that kind of league. When I say we, I mean South Tipperary General. He's in that kind of league, way above what it should be.
Absolutely. And Seamus, what has happened in the last number of years? First of all, you've had the budget cuts, as I said, almost 25% of the budget gone over a number of years. But at the same time, you have huge increases in activity levels in the hospital. The hospital is now running at 120% capacity every day of the year, 365 days of the year. So we have a hospital which has been expanding, staff working above and beyond the call of duty, and expanding in a situation where budgets and staff numbers are being cut. And the result of that is what we've seen over the last number of years, and particularly over the last 6 months at the department.
Are there closed wards in Clonmel?
Certainly, for instance, there was a 14-bedded gynecology ward which was closed, and those beds subsumed into the general surgical beds. But we do need the three elements I said, Seamus: additional staff in the emergency department, additional beds within the hospital, and we need the step-down beds. Probably in Cashel, which is the best location for them. That hospital is vacant effectively. There's units available there.
Yeah, and is it true what Patty McGrath said, that they've removed the bed lift from that hospital?
I don't know that, Seamus, but I can tell you the units are available within that hospital. That hospital was constructed to provide a local hospital facility, a local district hospital beds, and other specialised beds, and it was built for that purpose. And even if the lift was removed, it would not take a lot to actually reinstall the lift.
Okay.
I doubt very much if that's the case.
Okay. What about? Have we any idea of figures of subacute patients in the acute hospital in Clonmel? Have we any idea?
Well, I mean, I don't know the figures currently, Seamus, but I do know, and I've spoken to the management at the hospital and the Southeast management in recent times. In fact, over the last number of months about this, and they indicate, and they have, in fairness to them, requested that an additional 12 beds. Step-down beds be funded and be opened at Our Lady's Hospital Cashel to help the situation in the emergency department at Clonmel. So we're at least talking about a minimum of 12 beds, which is accepted right across the HSE. And I believe it's an absolute shame and a disgrace that those beds aren't open, because, as I say, the money is available within the National Service Plan for 2014 for situations just like this, specifically situations like this, and there is no reason why that money wouldn't be made available to open those beds at Our Lady's Hospital in Cashel.
Well, there is. They're saying the funding is not available.
Well, Seamus, I'm looking now, as I speak to you, I'm looking at the National Service Plan for 2014.
I know, you said there's 30 million there for emergency
absolutely,
situations.
And I'll refer your listeners to Appendix 1, Critical Services Priorities, and as I've read out to you, there's a figure of 30 million euros available under that service priority for exactly situations like this. So it's simply not true that the money isn't available.
A listener wants to know, where is HIQA and the fire officer on all of this?
Well, Seamus, that is another question, and indeed a bigger question, and a question that I am very concerned about, because the whole situation whereby the hospital over the last number of years has been starved of resources is a familiar situation right around the country, where the HSE ran down budgets, ran down staff, and then called in people like HIQA and said, oh, we can't continue with the services in the hospital because
they're unsafe.
Exactly, and that is a very serious concern that I have in this situation.
So is the hospital a victim of its own success, that it has attracted more people in its doors for reasons that we've discussed already, and as a result, is it going to be punished for that?
Well, it absolutely must not be punished for that, Seamus. The hospital has, as you said, has worked above and beyond the call of duty, has increased the throughput throughout the hospital in a situation of cutbacks, and as I said, is now running at 120% capacity. Now, Seamus, I think that we've given the HSE, we've given the Department of Health, we've given the Minister for Health, and we've given the Taoiseach every opportunity to solve this problem. And I believe now it's time to give the public their say. And as chairperson of the hospital committee, I'm going to call an emergency meeting of that committee with a view to calling a public meeting next week in relation to this situation at South Tipperary General Hospital.
All right, thank you very much, Seamus Healy, for talking to us this morning.
Seamus, thank you.